I'm Luke Summerhays.
I'm James J. Miles.
And I'm James the Jaster Stewart.
And you're listening to Monster Mash.
And on this week's episode, we are hunting Hirabami.
Hirabami? I hardly know he.
Good Christ.
Wild thing, you make my heart sing. You make the Monster Mash. It was a graveyard smash. It caught on in a flash. They did. The monsters are under my bed. Get along with the voices inside of my head. You're trying to say
Leviathans that inhabit the ice-shard cliffs. They have sharp, pincer-like tails, and peculiar membranes on their necks that catch the wind and keep them aloft. Hirabami can sometimes be sighted nesting in groups along the cliffs, using their scales or foreclaws to cling to walls or ceilings while they sleep.
One of the few monsters in the game that take advantage of the horde mechanic.
Yeah.
It actually feels like they use it like way more than any other monster that does like this, compared to like the Shagama. Like Hirabami definitely kind of, if you're fighting one, there's going to be at least another one alongside it.
Yeah, and I don't want to start this off with bad vibes on Hirabami, but I think because of that, and because of the fact there isn't an alpha Hirabami, it feels like it's obviously a large monster. It doesn't really feel like it sometimes.
Feels like a medium monster.
Yeah,
Which
yeah.
I remember people were speculating that was going to be a thing before the game came out. When like the horde stuff was shown, because they were like, well, they can't have a horde of large monsters, so maybe there's going to be a new sort of medium monster.
Yeah, because like that was like the, yeah, you're right. That was like the whole thing when you saw the Deshagama, and people were like, is that a large monster or are they technically small?
Whereas Doshagama in the game fully feels like a large monster.
Yeah.
Whereas I guess Hirabami's problem is that like it is really easy.
Yeah, it doesn't have a lot of bite to it, does it?
The hardest thing about it is that it flies a lot. It's like in the air, and there's certain like weapon types, like maybe like the Joe Blades, where it can be like a little bit difficult
But
to hit
even
it.
then, it doesn't do much with that. Like compare it to Rathalos, where
Yeah,
Rathalos flies about a lot, and he's also going to hit you like a truck.
because he will fly away from you like a lot, like further away. Like whereas Hirabami, like it's not really flying because it's just kind of as it said in the description, it catches the wind, so it's really just kind of hovering there for you to like hit away on it.
But I think from a design standpoint,
I was going to say because visually it is very unique and cool.
Yeah.
It's just a shame that it feels so floaty and sort of throwaway, like a paper monster in hunting it, because I really like that design. So Jay, we almost recorded this last week and you were not going to be here. And your comment was like, the only thing I have to say about Hirabami is it seems like a Rise monster that escaped.
Yeah, because it feels like it's inspired by a yokai of some sort, and I don't know enough about yokai to say, oh, it's got to be this one. But I know if there's anyone I know that may know if it's inspired by a yokai, it's going to be Luke Summerhays.
Yeah, well, the first thing I thought when I saw it was like, oh, that's a Mukade, which is just Japanese for centipede, but they have a yokai version which is like a giant centipede.
Right.
And it's just like, because the Japanese centipedes are really venomous. So the idea of a giant one of those is like a pretty scary monster. And there's various legends about this and that hero having to slay one, but...
Right, they never gave it like more kind of status effects then for the Hirabami. I know it shoots the ice at you. Like, can lock
yeah,
in
if it seems
position,
like it should
but
have like a poison or a paralyze or something.
I know when I
It's
first
also-
saw it like get revealed, like my initial thought, like, oh no, my arch nemesis Giganox is back.
You're not. Someone on Reddit said that as well. Yeah.
Yeah,
I've never fought a Giganox.
It's
so
because it was like, they're like they look kind of slightly slimmer, but a lot bigger. Like your normal kind of picture your normal like a Barioth or something like that, but like kind of more like a Kezu skin. And it can climb like everywhere, like including on the ceiling. And like when you first see the Hirabami revealed, it's like it's clinging to the ceiling and it drops down.
Yeah.
But
for me,
thankfully it's not a kick and ox.
Yeah.
Nothing.
The other thing people compare it to is Somnicanth, and I can kind of see the shape, but because the movement is so different, I think they get away with it.
Somnicanth's so grounded, obviously, right? And
yeah, like swims around under you almost.
I think it's more like the frill of the neck, right? Like that's got that kind of hood of a kind of cobra to it. Like
but like you put it all together, and you could easily believe that this thing was meant to be in Rise. Yeah.
Like, the one I thought it was potentially meant to be like was like the Umbrella yokai.
Yeah, but they did the Acnasom for that.
Yeah.
Maybe this was the reason this one didn't get put in Rise is because they were like, we've got 2 Umbrella ones, we'll go with the Acnasom. But we will never know those kind of internal details. Actually, maybe they do put out those art books.
Sometimes, yeah.
Could be like a really old idea, right? Like,
yeah.
Imagine like older monster.
Well, even like the Sacred, right, was from like designs from Monster Hunter 1.
Really?
Yeah. When it was first revealed, Gaijin Hunter did a little video on it. Like, it's in one of the earliest art books.
That's really cool.
Yep.
I could just imagine
Again,
it's like
Nausicaa.
Someone that like works at the Capcom where it's specifically digging through the history of like the previous works.
No, I feel it's more like the guy who designed it in Monster Hunter 1 is like bringing it back to the meeting every single game, and they finally let him.
It could be. Well, it's like one of the directors.
Version.
I don't like my version, but one of the directors for Wilds is the original director.
Yeah,
as well, like Konami Fujioka. So
I'm just imagining some Capcom employee like going through the archives, like Gandalf at Minas Tirith, just like blowing dust off old books, going, "Aha!"
It's on one of those ladders that just can slide across the whole shelf.
Yeah, yes, yeah.
Do you remember a couple of years back there was a big leak of like internal files from Game Freak? And one of the things that came out was like one of the developers was trying to sneak references into how Pokemon used to sleep with humans in every game.
Yeah.
And like it only slipped through the cracks that one time in like Diamond and Pearl, but apparently he was always doing it. And there was the famous story that Miyamoto wanted to have Mario ride a dinosaur like 3 games in a row and finally got it in World.
He was right.
Yeah.
He was
they just needed
right.
the power of the Super Nintendo.
Yes. Parallax scrolling. The Centipede thing's interesting because, like, I kind of get it with like the serrated tail. Like it does, and I
it
guess
looks like it's got a bunch of
moves-
little legs on there, right?
I guess the way that it moves on the ground, it does kind of skitter when it's on the ground, right?
But you don't see it on the ground that much.
Not often, yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, the way it sort of curls up, especially when it's injured or dead, is quite insectoid. But it's not like a Neopteron or anything like that. It's not an insect.
No.
It is some sort of lizard.
It's a Leviathan, I believe. Is the class.
It is. Mm-hmm. And again, tying it to Rise, its mouth is very similar to the 3 big dragons from that. Nawa, Father, and Satan. That's him. Yeah, guys.
You've not played Sekiro, have you, Luke?
Nope, it's in its cellophane waiting to be played.
Yeah. Lots of centipedes in that.
Yeah, well, that's why.
Yeah, I mean, like from a fight perspective, I don't think I've ever had any trouble with this, but I do think it. I think this monster more so than what experience with Deshagama. This one, I think you really do need to be a bit more proactive with your dunk pods. So it is quite cool that it has you engaging with that mechanic a bit more.
Yeah, the only time I've had issue with it was the very first hunt it's in, which is basically the game teaching you about dung pods.
Yeah, you get
And I was just like,
large dung pods, right?
Yeah, and I was just running out, searching the environment, trying to find another pile of shit, running out again, searching the environment for another pile of shit, you know? Because also, I know this game it has like hard monsters, and it gives you a couple that are a bit easier to sort of keep a rhythm, and obviously, that's good game design.
Mm-hmm.
But this one especially, because you could tell you were close to the end, and then suddenly here's a fight that goes on for ages but is not difficult. The first time I fought it in the story, I was like so not into fighting the Hirabami. And then when I basically didn't hunt another Hirabami unless the game made me, until I made the armor for this. And then making the armor, I was like, I wasn't having so many annoying hunts where 4 of them show up. And like, that was when I got to actually look at the monster and appreciate it and enjoy it. And then because it was also a piece of piss.
Yeah.
He just became my pal.
I think he's like the Hirabami feels like the prime monster if you ever wanted to like practice the ranged weapons.
Yeah.
Get a proper like handle on them, like fight a bunch of Hirabami, like to practice.
They kind of did the weaker monster turning up towards the end of the game gimmick in World as well, right? With Dodogama.
Dodogama, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, this what this game does often, it has like Apex and then you fight something a little bit lighter elsewhere. Like I would say Ron Popolo kind of falls into that as well.
It's to balance it out, right? So you get
You
not just in terms of the
like,
difficulty factor, like also balance in terms of like what you make from the Hirabami might aid you in the following fight.
Plus the game kind of tries to structure itself almost like in story arcs, right?
Yeah.
Because of the way you go from area to area to area. So by virtue of that, you kind of want to have a bit of... You can't constantly escalate, right? You want to have a slight dip back down to build up to the area's big beastie.
Well, that's why video games often struggle to tell stories the way like a film does. Because obviously, classic film structure is like the end of the second act, everything seems hopeless, blah, blah, blah. Whereas video games, you have to just always be winning.
Yeah.
And then you get annoying examples where it's like, you beat the boss and then the game just plays a cutscene where you didn't.
Yeah, I was trying to think about any examples where they've done that and kind of... Devil May Cry 5 does it. Like, if you're good enough to beat the boss like, at the very beginning of the game, they just go, oh, yeah, well done, you win.
Well, you win the game?
Yeah.
That's pretty fun. I like that. Because Ghost of Tsushima starts with a boss you're not meant to win, but you can. But then the cutscene just plays and he beats you anyway.
Yeah, I mean, it's Sekiro, another game we spoke about this episode, does the same. But Monster Hunter doesn't.
None of that nonsense.
Anything on the name of the Hirabami, Luke?
Yeah, so Hira is like onomatopoeia for fluttering, and Bami is snake. Like, in Japanese you have the thing where every kanji can be read multiple ways, like shinobi and ninja are the same word. So Bami is like an older way to pronounce snake, or serpent. So Hirabami, the fluttering snake, makes sense. And then the weapon names, I haven't fully figured them out, but they all contain Japanese verbs like cut, thrust. So, makes sense for
they all end with Bami, like they've got like Sakibami.
So he's the flutter snake, and you can use him to make the stab snake and slice snake and
Tsukibami. I mean, Uchibami is probably just from the Uchikatana, right? Like that.
Yeah.
So something a Scottish person that gets hurt would say Uchibami.
Uchibami. Very good.
I'm glad Jas made that joke. I was here trying to put something together that was like, float like a Hirabami, sting like a...
But yeah, not much else to say on this monster. Like you said, it comes at kind of a strange point in the game where you want to be ramping up to something a bit more special, and it doesn't have the sauce.
It's also like, I think if you switched this and Rompopolo, it would work. Because the reason Dodogama worked was it was like you're close to the end of the game and you want to be fighting the final boss. But then someone so adorable and goofy showed up. No one was mad about fighting Dodogama.
No, just little guy.
Yeah. So if you were at this stage in the game, you'd just beaten an Apex, you're on your way to fight the final boss, and then like suddenly Rompopolo shows up with all of his nonsense, I think we'd have all we'd have all enjoyed it a bit more.
But alas, Hirabami. Whilst I have no idea when you'll be hearing this, listeners, but we're going to be recording this next monster very close to the release of Donkey Kong Bonanza, and we'll be having a bonanza as we hunt a Jarakan. So make sure to join us for that whenever that hits your audio feed. But well, come on, look, they want more, and where can they find it?
If you want more, you can find it at patreon.com/podcastiopodcastius, or just go to podcastiopodcastius.org, where you'll find links to all the podcasts we make, and you can get in touch with us on Blue Sky at Podcast, or you can watch Monster Mash on YouTube, see the hunts, see the action unfold before your very eyes, and you can rate and review, like and subscribe, tell your Monster Hunter playing friends, and just go into a bathroom stall and write "Listen to Monster Mash" on the walls.
All of the walls.
Right, listen to Monster Mash podcast. Don't encourage them to go and listen to the song.
they can do that too if they'd like, though. Let's not withhold the good music.
I'm sick of people saying Monster Mash is a banger. It's not a banger, and I know bangers. Have you seen that?
I don't think so.
No, doesn't ring a bell.
It's a video that Mercy's brother shared with me of just some guy ranting in a car about how Monster Mash is not a banger. And I know bangers!
I would like to speculate that this gentleman does not. And on that bombshell, catch us next time.
Cheerio.
Yeah, real people who know bangers listen to Monster Mash podcast. Because it is perfection.
Pretty good.